Are we on?
Hey, we're live.
Hey, we're live. Coming at you from San Francisco in the midst of a torrential downpour. It's craziness here. A lot of people couldn't make it in today, including Dan Amrick, who is chilling at home without a care in the world. I think he's on the chat. So hi, Dan.
Hey, Dan.
Hopefully this won't be too much of a train wreck without him to keep us in line, but it probably will be.
Oops.
So, hey, stop.
Train wreck.
Train wrecked. So, hey, Rage Against the Machine. That's pretty rad, right? 7 songs available in a variety of permutations. I'm going to take a drink of coffee here. Oh, yeah. So let's see a little preview of that, and then we'll come back and play some of them.
those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Killing in the name of.
Hey, we're back. So, you know, that was the preview video. What do we do now? We usually play a song now, right? I'm new here.
We try.
Do we have any songs loaded up? Oh, hey, Bulls on Parade. Let's do that one first. I'm calling an audible. Let's switch up the whole stream. We're going to do Bulls on Parade first. I believe this one was featured in Guitar Hero 3. That was... what? Hey! Slow down there, man. Yeah, so, you know, y'all got anything you want to say? Who did this? Shane did
I did this.
Yeah, how was it?
It was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It was a super sweet jam.
Yeah?
Yeah, the hardest part for the whole thing is, or really for a lot of the Rage songs, is because Tom Morello plays with so many effects all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We end up transcribing things and people are like, that's not what they play. But it really is. He just uses effects to make it sound like he's playing in a different position or playing with something else. So like the solo in this song, he uses a kill switch, which just cuts the signal for your guitar, so you get a really choppy, like, tick, 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 tick. So for that, like, so I'm going to do it with my pickups. I have the one set to 0 volume and the other one set to full volume, so it's going to act like a kill switch. And it's going to be real difficult, and I'm going to do this because this is what he does if you ever seen it live, and it looks really stupid, so laugh at me.
I think it looks rad, man. I think it looks super cool.
So technically in game, it just looks like regular fret hand mutes on the 11th fret, which is dumb and boring to play, and he would never do that. So try it my way if you want. Go.
Anthony, anything to add about the bass before we dive into these Bulls?
It's a lot of fun.
Well said.
It's very syncopated, the bass work. So yeah, it could take a while, I think, to really feel his rhythmic phrasing.
Yeah.
And really lock in with the guitar and the bass.
And these guys aren't about necessarily the technical virtuosity, but it's all about that groove.
It's all about the groove.
Finding that pocket, right?
They're a hip hop group
Yeah.
at the core of it.
Yeah. All right, well, let's do it. I'm just gonna sit here. I know Dan usually leaves. I'm just gonna sit here. I'm just checking.
What if I do this? Oh man, this is gonna be nice. We have the couch from the loft from the video shoot is now in the no tracking area. It's pretty sweet. They're talking about that in the chat. I guess I'd have to provide some context. But, people like a mystery. Music. It does look cool, man. You really sell it. That guitar had it coming. Nicely done. Let's see the numbers up on the big board. 92 and 97. Pretty good. Which one is which? Who's 97? You're 92.
Better.
Dazzling is better than exemplary, I think. I'm sorry, man. You only got 97%. So how was it? How was it to play that stuff? Did it feel just right?
It's great fun.
It was great fun. Wonderful.
Indeed. Yeah, that solo is obviously the weirdest, hardest part.
Yeah.
But if you want to get a higher percentage, just sit there and be boring. But if you want to be awesome, like Tom Morello and me, do what we do.
Yeah, as far as bass goes, I think the most difficult part, at least for me, is the bridge right before the guitar solo, because there's a lot of fast shifting from like the second position to the seventh position, and then at the end he goes all the way up to the 14th position. Yeah, those are good riff repeating sections. So yeah, a lot of good stuff in this song.
Great. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for coming on today. I don't know. Will we be seeing either of you later? No.
Not
I think
today.
So you just go away.
All
Okay.
right, we're going away.
Hey, but before we go, may I speak with Arnold?
Oh man, I don't think he's in today.
What's wrong with your dog? Come on, man.
Nice try. Nice try.
He does the best Arnold impression I've ever heard.
It's an okay Arnold impression.
If
No,
any
it's
of you,
pretty good.
if any of you watch Hey Arnold, then you would recognize it instantly. All right, so a little later on, we'll be doing some Q&A. So you guys queue up any questions you might want to ask a little later on when we do the Q&A segment. But right now, we're going to do our first Ernie Ball giveaway. We have the Ernie Ball bass pack. Can we see that up on the screen? Look at this stuff. I mean, who wouldn't want these things? These are bass strings. We got two different flavors of bass strings. We got some picks. We got a string winder that will not work on a bass guitar, but it's in there anyway. We got a very nice strap and the wonderful Wonder Wipes that you can use to wipe things with. So, yeah, so we'll be doing the raffle in the chat. Who, I don't know. Hey, David, who have we got in the chat today running the thing? Or is Dan running it himself? Oh, Jason Paradise. Hey, buddy. So he'll be starting that pretty soon, so just follow his instructions. Up next, we've got, let's see who we got. We got Greg and David coming in. They're going to play. My mic's a little low, they say. Crank it, man. Crank it up. People want to hear this stuff. So they're going to be playing Down Rodeo, which was tracked by my good buddy Greg here. Hey, good buddy Greg.
Hey, well, I'm real good. How are you?
I'm doing mighty fine.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. How's your mom and them?
My mama good.
Well, how was it tracking this song, man?
It was awesome actually. There's a bunch of very interesting idiosyncratic techniques, as every song has.
Those are my favorite kind.
The coolest one is in between the verses. I wasn't sure how to track this in the interface, so I ended up making open string taps, which is kind of weird. But it's pretty much that. He just
A lot of people I've seen asking about this on the forums and Reddit and
it's,
stuff.
It's not very straightforward. So I will explain it now. So if you watch any videos of him, he's basically just tapping the open low E string against the pickup. I think it works a little better if it's 3 single coil type of pickup.
Well, you want to push it right into the pole.
You push it right into the pickup pole. It doesn't have to be super exact. He kind of just, but you're pushing it actually down.
Yeah.
So it hits that pickup pole. Basically.
Yeah. So
Push it
so
real
the
good.
the poles and the pickups are actually just they're magnets, right? So it's just sort of grabbing onto the string for a second and making that loud click, and then that gets run through all of the pedals and
Right,
stuff,
and yeah,
and
it's
gives you the
heavily
effect
affected also.
that we recognize in the song.
And it works pretty well with this tone that Brendan made. So we shall see.
A lot of fun tones, a lot of interesting things going on. Tom Morello is very famous for his sort of extended, very experimental use of effects and pedals and things, and all these songs feature a lot of interesting stuff along those lines. Anything, David, you want to say about the bass? This is David Stevens, our QA ninja on the bass today. He gives this stuff a good once over before we send it out into the world. Make sure that there's nothing too wrong with it. Anything too wrong with this one this week?
No, the bass is pretty straightforward. There's a lot of accents which they're not explicitly labeled as slap, but it sounds better when you do.
Mm-hmm.
There's some harmonics which you don't typically see in bass that can be a little tricky to hit. But like I said, it's really straightforward. Just follow the beat. Some interesting stuff.
And again, this is all about the
Nice
groove.
shirt.
Right? Thanks, man. I like your shirt too.
I like yours better.
I think
Yeah,
I
his
think
is nicer.
Mine is nicer. Mine has a little baby
mustard right there.
baby mustard on it.
Baby mustard.
Wait, mustard that a baby was eating and spilled on it. I have a 2-year-old kid who is not very careful with her mustard. That's all I'm saying. I'm just gonna step off camera here and let you boys get to work on this. All right, so here we go. Down Rodeo, no track by Greg, played by Greg, David. Let's give it a go. I don't need to hear that. How long did it take me to grow my beard? Is asking in the chat. I don't know, because I had like a short beard for a long time, and then at some point I stopped trimming it, or I stopped trimming it as low down. I would say I've been like growing it out for maybe 2 months. It's basically a job requirement here at the studio SF. Why are we talking hillbilly? We actually are hillbillies. It's just we have to fake it. We have to fake being regular people here in San Francisco. They don't take to us hillbillies. I'm from Tennessee. I'm an actual born and raised, bred and spread. Brian McCune was born in West Virginia and raised in North Carolina, so he is barely literate. But literate. No, I'm not saying he's not literate, just barely.
telling me that I sound a little quiet. I don't know if we need to crank up the volume. I'll try to speak more directly into the microphone. Tell me if it gets too loud. They actually turned me down right at the beginning because they said I was way louder than Dan, which is true. Not loud enough. Now I'm way too loud. Perfect. Let's leave it right there. I'll just move the mic away from my mouth a little bit. We have a room full of about 8 audio professionals in here right now, so I think we can do a better job of getting things balanced. But we're not hearing what you hear. We're hearing what we hear. On that one. Greg, look more excited, please. Perfect. Oh, Dan, I meant to tell you that you were fired. I'm sorry. I was supposed to say something, but you didn't come in, so I was like, problem solved. Not really. Not really. We love Dan. Dan's one of the best things to happen to the Rocksmith team and the whole Rocksmith community in a long time. And we miss you today, buddy. You come home safe. You don't get too wet out there. But seriously, don't come in tomorrow. I kid. Do, please. Because I have to host. It's not because I have to host. I get to host. This is where I meant to be this whole time. You've been standing in my way. Well, no more. Yeah, we'll ask David about that. Dan's talking about it a little bit in the chat, but we're gonna have a very, very special Twitch stream next week. It will be our very, very, very last Twitch stream of the year. We're going to do a supersized kind of situation. We'll be playing some fun stuff, and we'll have some great giveaways that Dan's talking about in the chat. So you should all tune in, and you should invite your friends. Hey!
Hey!
David Stevens, let me just lean in
Mind
here.
my headstock.
You mind your headstock. I'm just going to go where I want. We had some people asking how for tips about fingering bass chords. The strings are a little thicker, they're a little further apart. The frets are a little further apart.
So
any
fingering
different?
the chord, or?
Yeah. Or anything you can say about playing chords on the bass as opposed to playing chords on the guitar?
Well, specifically for this track, it's being barred with just the third finger. At least that's how Greg noted it. And I really think that's the best way to play it. I mean, you can try and get your ring and pinky finger in there. I feel like I have a tendency for my fingers to push through. And so just barring it, you can be sure that you're getting both of them down. And then to actually finger that, I find it's better to just kind of brush the strings. You know, don't try and hit them both at the same time.
And the bassist in the band, he's a finger guy. He's not a pick guy.
He does
right?
a little of both, but
Yeah,
mostly fingers.
mostly finger
a lot
stuff.
of slap.
Yeah.
A lot of techniques that you wouldn't normally see a lot of bass players use.
So if you notice in the game, for any of you who haven't picked up on this, there are anytime there's a chord shape in the game, there's a fingerprint at the bottom of the screen on the UI that shows you what fingers we suggest using or what fingers we've been able to figure out that the original performance used. So that's always a good starting point, but different people have different hand shapes and find things that are more or less comfortable for them. So you can experiment with it to find what works for you.
I want to mention one more thing
Sure.
about the guitar part. During the verse, there is this kind of just simple box, kind of pentatonic box line that goes back and forth. It sounds like this. Just back and forth like that. But he doesn't actually pick it. He kind of just hammers on every note, which can be difficult to get the game to detect. But it's doable, as you can see. You just really need to smack it. And what's cool about it is because of the tone, it's this really super fuzzy tone. And because you take the attack away, it sounds a lot like a synth.
Very legato.
Yeah, and it sounds way more like a synth than a guitar. And
The
a lot
song
of
has
the
a lot of
guitar's
dynamic
tone,
in it.
right? A lot of the guitar's tone comes from the pick attack. So when you take that away, it sounds way different, and it's a pretty cool effect. So practice doing that. Practice just really getting those hammer-ons to be strong. That's the way he does it.
Great. And so we had those that interesting thing for anybody who just might have come in late. Show us one more time what that weird tapped open string technique is.
So right, the open strings with the little V tap on it is just literally you're just pushing down on the low 6th string. And what it's doing is it's hitting the pickup pole. Depending on what kind of guitar you have, it's going to hit different places. I think he uses a 3 single coil guitar because the pitch he's getting is right between the bridge pickup and the middle pickup. So it's kind of hard to demonstrate on this one, but if you hit it right in between there, you'll get that same pitch that he
I'm
gets.
pretty sure his guitars are not of this earth.
Yeah, that's true also.
So tell your friends, sometimes we run across wacky techniques in songs that only happen in that one song. So there's, we're not going to have a special note head just for that. So we put something in to represent it. So tell your friends, that's how you do that. Okay, so we're going to do another giveaway now. We've got 5 Steam codes for this Rage Against the Machine DLC coming up, and Jason Paradise will be running that in the chat. And while he's doing that, we're going to take a little break and show you guys a video, and we'll come back with our backtrack. Hey everybody, my name's Jared McAdams, and I'm going to be talking a bit today about emulated bass. So you all know about the regular paths. You've got lead, you've got rhythm, and you've got bass. And you should totally jump around between all the paths as much as you want. There's no penalty for moving between them, and if you don't check them out, you're missing out on a lot of the content in the game. But there's actually a 4th option, emulated bass. Now this is where you use your guitar to play bass arrangements. So here I am in lead mode, and you can hear the menu tone for lead path sounds like this. And now let's switch. Hey everybody, my name's Jared McAdams, and I'm going to be talking to you a little bit today about emulated bass. So you all know about the regular paths. You've got lead, you've got rhythm, and you've got bass. And you should totally jump around between all the paths as much as you want. There's no penalty for moving between them, and if you don't check them out, you're missing out on a lot of the content in the game. But there's actually a 4th option, emulated bass. Now this is where you use your guitar to play bass arrangements. So here I am in lead mode, and you can hear the menu tone for lead path sounds like this. And now let's switch to bass and see what that sounds like. Okay, it still sounds like a guitar, right? It doesn't sound like a bass all of a sudden. It's still the same pitch. To make it sound like a bass, it needs to be shifted down an octave. So I'm going to go here to the options menu, and under play settings, I'm going to select emulate bass. Now listen. Okay, so that's low, right? That's a low note. That's a bass note. It sounds Sounds like a bass. So now we can use that to play songs in the game, and it will actually sound like you're playing a bass. When you're in emulated bass mode, the tuner works essentially the same way as when you're in guitar mode, except you only have to tune 4 strings. And notice here in the tuner, you can actually switch emulated bass on and off here in the tuner instead of going into the options menu. That's actually probably generally a better way to do it. Okay, so why would you want to do this? For one, there's just great stuff in the game that's awesome music where the bass is doing totally its own thing that has nothing to do with what's going on in the guitar, where the bass is really the main instrument. Here's an example of that. This is What's Going On by Marvin Gaye, one of the great bass lines, one of the great bass players in Rocksmith. You should check this out if you haven't had a chance to. Here's a little bit of that.
Mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother.
Another reason you might want to check out the emulated bass is that sometimes it's a little easier than a guitar part. Sometimes it's actually just the same as the guitar part, but just the bass notes, just the root notes of the chords. When you have that kind of situation, the bass becomes like a single note version of the song, and it can be a good intermediate step. Let's check out Blitzkrieg Bop. That's basically what's going on here. The bass is playing pretty much what the guitar's playing, just isn't playing the chords. So if you're still working up to chords, this might be a good place to start. Okay, so most bass parts are not going to be completely different from the guitar part, and most aren't going to be completely identical to the guitar part. Most are going to kind of dance around it. This is Say It Ain't So by Weezer. Here you can see I'm playing the root notes of the chords, but I'm also kind of doing some other things. That's a good one to check out. Finally, like I said before, if you're not playing all the paths, you're missing out on a lot of the content of the game. I personally think that some of the funnest charts in the whole game, funnest or most fun? Funnest, the most enjoyable charts in the game are bass charts sometimes, so you should check those out. Also, bass playing is kind of a different kind of approach to music from playing guitar, and it helps you wrap your brain around some ideas that maybe you're not going to get to the same degree in guitar charts. Things like groove and root movement and harmonic rhythm, the rate at which new harmonic information comes up. That's all much more exposed in the bass guitar chart, so you might want to check it out for that reason. And finally, for you beginners out there, like I said, this can be a great way to get your feet wet without worrying too much about chords and solos and things that might be a little bit intimidating. So that's a quick look at emulated bass. Check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Hey everybody, Turtle fans everywhere. Welcome back to the stream here from Rocksmith HQ in San Francisco, California, where the rain, she doesn't stop. It's been coming down hard for, about 12 hours now? 8, 10, 12 hours, something in there. Keeping our good friend Dan Amrich at home for the day, unfortunately, and we miss him greatly, and this is not going well. I think we can all agree this is very bad.
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to bad, it's really bad.
Extra bad. But still, we plow through because that's what we do with most things. And here we are back with Greg and Sam, who are going to play this week's backtrack, which is, what is it?
Oblivion.
Oblivion by Mastodon. And Greg, you did a little write-up for the forum on this track.
I did.
And what'd you have to say about it?
It was on metric modulation, which is a fancy way to say basically just switching where the accents lie in a string of beats. It's not actually that complicated, but it sounds pretty complicated. But go ahead and read the article, and see if you can make some sense out of it.
Yeah.
Basically, the song always changes feels and meters and plays with the number of beats that are in each measure, kind of thing.
All right. So you got taka 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 taka, and that changes to taka ta taka ta taka ta taka ta, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the each individual little click is the same length, but in one instance they're grouped into 2s, and in one instance they're grouped into 3s.
Right.
And
it depends where you put that emphasis.
Yeah.
Which one of those beats you emphasize. Right?
So you'll hear that in the song, and you can read all about it on the forums. Hopefully somebody is posting the link to that even as we speak. So we'll play through this. These guys will play it, and then we'll do a little Q&A, so you guys be thinking about what you might want to ask us. Feel free to put an umbrella in the mail for us. We might need it. But while we wait for that, we'll listen to some Oblivion. Get to it.
Okay.
Go. I'm waiting. Do it. What's going on? Hurry up. All right, I'm just going to talk. How you doing, Sam?
I'm fantastic.
All right, let's play. Yeah. We're super out of tune, Les. We're gonna start again and get. Okay, so again, this is the kind of thing that would never happen if Dan was here to make sure it didn't happen, but he's not, so it did. You should recalibrate. Whoa! Oh, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun times. Maybe I'll be quiet while you tune so you can get it right. Hey! Brian McCune, our boss, is throwing things at us. I'm pretty sure that counts as workplace harassment. I think there's probably some money. I don't know what I'm calling OSHA. Next week, we will be doing a supersized stream. We will be doing some fantastic giveaways. This will be our last stream of the year. Next week will also be our very last DLC release of the year with our Jimi Hendrix 12-pack. That's 12 songs from the legendary mega hit guitarist Jimi Hendrix. 12 of his very best. All right, settle down, boys, settle down. So we're all looking forward to getting that stuff out to you guys. That'll be available as a 12-pack. It'll also be available as 4 3-packs, and it will be available as 12 singles. And that will also be free for people upgrading to the new console versions for the Xbox One and the PS4. And it will be available to everyone on all platforms for, I believe, $30 for the full 12-pack. Next week, we've got something a little special planned. We're going to be doing a little retrospective of the year 2014. I don't even know if you can hear me now. You probably can't because these guys are strumming on their guitars really loud, but I'll just talk about that until now. And then I'll say we'll also have some special guests on our broadcast next week and maybe some holiday festiveness and God, I don't know what else. But yeah, special guests. Some of our non-Note Tracker friends from the studio will be coming by, and it should be a good time. We'll have eggnog, I hope, and maybe some holiday treats, maybe some tree-shaped cookies. I don't know what's going to happen, but let's play music.
course, DLC is set to be available for everyone on all platforms on December 16th. It may be a couple of days later in other territories. In North America, it'll be the 16th. In Europe, I believe it's the 17th. It'll be available for all platforms. It's free on Xbox One and PS4 until January 31st, and then after that, it's available to everybody at the prices that it's available at. A speedy recovery to Unleash 2K on your upcoming wrist surgery. That sounds pretty rough. Hopefully you'll be able to get back on the saddle pretty quick. Yeah, we see a question in the chat about fast strumming, so we'll see what Sam and Greg have to say about it. They're both pretty good strummers. Questions in the chat about why certain artists get bigger packs, why certain artists get smaller packs, why certain artists aren't in the game, while others are, and what sense does it all make. We have a very helpful blog post and FAQ and infographic that goes into some detail about that. Ultimately, it comes down to what we can get the rights for. And we can't always get the rights to everything we want. We can't always get the rights to all the songs we want. We don't always have the bandwidth to do these mega 7 and 12 packs. This is kind of a special holiday deal that we've kind of been putting some extra work in to get you guys some extra songs over the holiday break because you know, a lot of people like extra stuff over the holidays. I've found that's an observation I've made. So I said, let's get these people some extra songs. They said no, and I said no, let's make it happen. It fought me every step of the way. But I worked and worked and worked and made it happen for you. You're welcome. Again, we've got Captain of Fun 22 live questioning why certain songs weren't in certain packs. You know, we get the songs that we can get. You know, we can't just say unilaterally that we're going to do this or that song. We have to work with the artists, work with the license holders, work with the record labels. Any of which might be multiple people who own the rights to either the recording or the publishing rights to these songs. So, you know, if it's not in there, it's probably because we haven't gotten it yet. But that doesn't mean we're not trying to get it. Hey guys, good playing.
Thanks, dude.
People are really digging your playing, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. How do you do it?
I watch Greg, man.
You just watch. Right, he learned it by watching you.
Mm-hmm.
One specific question people are asking, technique-wise, is fast strumming. When you've got really fast strumming, how do you develop that? How do you develop that skill?
That's a great question. It really depends. So there's a bunch of different types of fast strumming. I guess like when we're talking about chord strums, a lot of it has to do with how do you know, like let's suppose you're just doing like a bar chord, like maybe I'll do something that isn't, you know, like let's just do like I guess this would be a D minor, right? You want to first be able to make sure that you can kind of aim and get all the strings in.
Yeah, maybe lean
So,
forward.
yeah.
Maybe we'll get a little close-up action on this.
So if you look at the right hand, one of the things that we're doing, if you're looking at, oh, there we go.
All right.
It's there. Yep. So if you look at the right hand, like I'm gonna strum the yellow string all the way through the purple string here, and being able to aim first is the biggest thing you want to be able to do. So if you can get all those and get that going fast, then you got your aim. So now you know how to get those strums in, and you can work that up with a metronome, right? You can.
So you want to be able to do it slow before you work on getting. You want to be able to do it slow and
accurately.
right.
Yeah, because if you can get those chord strums in, and you know exactly your muscle memory in the palm of your hand says, oh, I know exactly how to strum strings yellow through purple. You will be able to do that faster and faster because you won't have to think about it, you know. But it's a thing you have to think about, and you have to program into your head like, oh, we got to do this. So this is how you do it.
And I know a lot of people get into have issues where it's fine and they're doing it right up to a certain point, and then you hit a certain point where your arm starts to tense up, and it really feels like you're putting a lot more effort into it. What do you do when you reach that point, Greg? Maybe, I know you looking at you have a slightly different approach to it.
For this song in particular, I mean, the strumming in the song isn't super difficult, although you definitely need to know how to strum. But for me, the hardest part about this song was the
Sure.
single notes, because it's just
That part is so
the left hand is pretty easy, but the right hand it's doing all double notes. So instead of it's every time, and it's an endurance test because
Yeah.
it just goes from that and then it goes directly into more double notes. So the whole time for like a minute straight, you're just doing back and forth.
Right.
And so my forearm was dying the first time I did this. In fact, I couldn't even play the whole thing through the first few times I was playing it. I had to like work up to this. So
But
take
when
it
you're
slow.
doing that, it's all 16th notes straight through, but you're muting some of them and then you're unmuting on some of those notes. So your
Right.
right hand doesn't have to do like an intricate pattern to get these rhythms. It's all about what your left hand is just letting certain notes pop out.
Yeah.
I'm palm muting these actually.
Oh,
so
palm muting, yeah.
It's all right hand actually. The left hand stays the same, but the muted ones you're just keeping your right hand, the knife edge of your right hand down. And then on those accents, you're just lifting it just an inch, or not even, just a quarter of an inch off of the strings.
We've talked about that a few times on the stream before. That's just all about finding that magic spot right down next to the saddles where your hand can kind of raise and lower. And it's not like a big move. You shouldn't think about it in terms of your hand having to make a big movement every time you're palm muting. It's just a little adjustment of whether
you're
it's
just
down or
picking
not.
it up off that part of the strings just momentarily.
And the thing I wanted to mention actually about not tiring out and petering out while you're doing stuff like that is minimizing that movement as much as possible. Because a lot of people, when they do these big, like actually if you look at like Zach Wilde, who like when he plays 16th notes, his whole body goes
Sure.
into it, and I'd feel like he would. I mean, maybe he's just built it up because he's got those guns or whatever.
Yeah.
But he does this, you
Yeah.
know, when he plays. But if you look at guys like Malmsteen or Petrucci or any of those guys who are like have it like continuous 16th notes like all the time, it's almost always, you know, this.
Can we talk about how you hold your pick and stuff? Because I think that's a huge part of efficiency of motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know I hold the pick wrong, and so I've noticed I move a lot more than I have to when I'm doing that thing.
Can we get the close-up
yeah.
cam on this, especially on this pick grip thing?
I'm assuming you hold your pick correctly.
I think I
Yeah.
don't know if that's correctly.
yeah.
But I hold my pick like this.
Right.
So
Yeah.
What I do is I always tell my students to get a thumbs up, right? And then if you look at my knuckle here, you put the pick right here
Right.
on the between the first and second knuckle here on your finger, and then you close down on that thumbs up. So thumbs up, right here,
There you go.
close it down. and then you got a really nice grip on your pick right here.
And,
you
and
can-
that,
That way,
keeps you
your
from
fist
moving
is
a lot.
always just constantly in a loose fist, and your wrist just kind of moves. Now
Right.
you do the three finger.
The way I do it, I don't know how I learned to do this, but it's basically, I basically hold it on the side of it like this, and then I hold it with 3 fingers. I think Pat Metheny holds his pick kind of like this actually.
Yeah, he does.
And he
Yeah,
picks
holds it.
really fast too, so it's not saying you can't do it, but moving like this, see how my hand is just spread out more than say this. This is a nice close fist, so you can rotate way easier than something that's spread out. You don't have as tight of a center
Yeah,
of
it's a
gravity, so you're,
longer radius.
exactly.
Yeah.
So you have to move more, and that's really important when you get into those speeds.
Yeah, and,
like
and
for this.
I don't know if I'd say it's a wrong or a right way to do it, because like if you say Pat Metheny's picking wrong, it just sounds really silly.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and it's like one of those things where like people who have like different size hands and different mechanics like just play very differently, and there's no wrong way. There's just different ways.
So what I would say, just to sum all that up, and I think we cover a lot of this about the pick grip and some of these things in some of the lessons, and a lot of this information is available online, and you're always welcome to send us emails or post in the forum if you have specific questions about any of these techniques. But try to start off doing things the right way, the way that things are taught. But as we said with the sort of fingering the bass chords before, people's hands are different sizes, different shapes. Some people have bigger knuckles or smaller fingers or less flesh. So you might need to adjust, but it's better to start off with the proper technique from the start and go from a foundation that's solid. We've had a pretty lengthy discussion here during our Q&A time. Were there any other specific questions that anybody wanted us to address? I think we'll go ahead and move on from that and get to our last song, which is one more of our Rage Against the Machine. This is one of their biggest tunes, a little number called "Killing in the Name." And I think my good buddy Brian McEwen and I are going to get down on this one. So I need a bass guitar. Is one of these drop D?
Hi, everybody.
Or is any standard would be fine to start with? I'll start with. I'll play this guy. All right, so I'm going to be doing double duty here. I don't know how Dan does this every week, people. It's amazing. It's like juggling cats. And I haven't juggled a cat in anger in years. Where's my plug-in-er?
You don't need it. Actually, I don't know where it is.
Hey,
Unless I
Sam,
picked
when
up
you
the wrong
unplugged,
one.
where did you put the
Here we go.
the thingy?
We are so good at technical time.
This is so good. Maybe we should have spent more time studying computers and cables and things instead of all this stupid music crap. There's no money in that, I tell you. All right, let's tune her up here. I ain't making no noise. Hello,
Can you do
computer.
that precision tuner for me.
Yeah, I'm not getting.
Oh,
There we
That
go.
was-
Oh, noises.
yeah. So
There we go.
so while we tune,
Yeah, talk to him, Brian McEwen.
I can't do 2 things at once.
Well,
horrible.
I'll just reiterate that next week we'll be doing a very special stream. I hope everybody can make it next week. We'll be having lots of guests. We'll be playing lots of our favorite songs from 2014, as Dan has pointed out in the chat. We don't have permission to play the Jimi Hendrix stuff as much as we would love to be able to play that stuff for you guys. We don't have permission. We don't have the streaming rights for that. So we'll be looking back on the songs we've put out this past year in 2014, since this is our last stream of the year, and playing some of those for you guys. We'll also have some special guests, some people that you don't. Oh, hello. Some people that you don't normally get to see on the stream. Some people who are not on the note tracking team and directly involved in the day-to-day production of all this new material, but people who were involved in other aspects of the production of Rocksmith 2014. And they'll come by and they might play some songs, and we might talk to them a little bit about their experience working on the game. So, Mr. Brian Pody on the Wheels of Steel over here is going to level all this up for us and get it ready to go. Hey, bass chords. That looks fun.
So I'm pinch hitting on this. I just found out when I found out that Dan wasn't coming in this morning that I'd be playing this. And I don't say that because I think I'm going to do a bad job. It's just more that I don't think I'm going to do a very good job. So, okay, let's go.
Yeah. And also, I did not note track this one. This was note tracked by. I'm just saying.
This was no track. This one.
Note tracked by Spencer, who you might remember from the Boxsmith.
From the Boxsmith videos. He was the other guitarist. Him and Sam played the guitar. Go ahead. You can go ahead and get that going.
Paul has been wanted this one in the game for a long time.
Paul loves this DLC. He
Yeah.
has been super excited about this.
We'll be watching.
Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Killing in the name of. Killing in the name of. Now you do what they told ya. 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 Those who died are justified for wearing the badge and your chosen right. You're justified. Those who died for wearing the badge and your chosen right. Those who died are justified for wearing the badge and your chosen right. You're justified. Those who died for wearing the badge and your chosen right. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Killing in the name of. Killing in the name of. You do what they told you. Now 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 you do what they told you. And now you do what they told you. And now you do what they told you. And now you do what they told you. Those who died are justified for wearing the badge and your chosen right. You're justified. Those who died for wearing the badge and your chosen right. Those who died are justified for wearing the
Pretty good.
All right, let's. Oh, thank you.
Thank
Applause
you.
from the Peanut Gallery. We had like 20 people in here before, and now we have just the 4 of us. A very intimate setting today on a rainy day in San Francisco. 99 is 7 more than 92 by my calculations.
And you did better than me?
Better than I, yes.
Okay, you did better than myself.
We did better than they.
Good. Good for you, Jared.
Good for me. It's probably the best thing that's going to happen to me today. It's all downhill from
Yeah,
here.
especially after that comment. I'm just going to make your day terrible.
Yeah, well, so far so good. Hey, we love each other.
have fun.
We have fun. We have fun. We rib each other. You too. Hey, guys.
I would love to highlight
Yeah.
Brendan West's success in trying to emulate this
Yes.
Tech whammy. Paul had been so excited to play this DLC for so long, and then he actually, when he got to play it for the first time, when it went up on the we got to play it on his computer, he immediately came downstairs and he was just like, who made the tones? This was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
It was one of those wonderful, like, gaming things where, he saw the speaker. If you do it in single player, you see the speakers dropping every time it's switching the octaves, and he was like, it was this fantastic workaround or emulation, and he was really excited. So kudos to Brendan.
Yeah.
Actually, could I have you pull this thing up, maybe in single player, and maybe we'll open up the mixer and
Oh,
drop
let's see
the
the
backing
tones
track
changing,
and
yeah.
go right to that and riff repeater. Maybe show you. It might highlight the fact that it's like not exactly perfect, but it's actually kind of cool to show you what's happening and the pitch is changing, even though I'm tremoloing,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's kind of what Shane was talking about before. Is a lot of times if you just play it acoustically on the unplugged guitar, it sounds like that doesn't sound like the song. But the effects are providing a lot of the actual melodic motion that's happening in there. So yeah, can we resume song from here?
Resume maybe, and also go to if you can go to the pause menu also, and we can actually pull down the mixing. And go to mixer, and maybe pull the music volume down to like 10 or 20%.
20, do 20.
I did this for the first time today. I've never pulled down the backing tracks and just tried to play over it, and
It's humbling.
It's humbling. Shows just how much I rely on drums to keep good time.
Can we do it in regular play? Can you just
oh,
resume? Because we won't see the.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's just about to happen.
Just resume song from there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Here we go. So a little bit quieter for you guys, but you'll hear my guitar tone like crazy.
That's so awesome. Oh. That tickles me.
Alright. It's good?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
So kudos to Spencer for putting all those tone switches in.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, we have to manually put all of those tone switches into the data for the note tracks. So that was a real Herculean effort on that.
Yeah. And this is also, for me, having been here for now over 4 years, and in Rocksmith 1, we didn't even have tone switching.
Right.
And Killing in the Name was, on the wish list early of things, and now to see what we can do in Rocksmith 2014 with all the tremolos and all the tone changes and all this cool stuff that actually just heightens the experience. It's, I don't know, it's just a nice reminder of like how far we've come in the time we've been developing this product. So
Yeah,
I'm excited for the
I know.
future,
We
too.
hope you guys agree.
yeah.
I think we've got one more Ernie Ball giveaway to go. Unless Brian, anything you wanted to add before we call it a day?
No, I think that's
Yeah.
okay.
So the Ernie Ball guitar giveaway, you can see that here. We've got guitar strings. We've got a string winder, which will work on guitar tuning pegs. We have some picks. We have the wonderful Wonder Wipes, and we have a guitar strap. All can be yours just by entering the raffle, which Jason Paradise will be kicking off here momentarily. In the meantime, I think we're going to sign off and maybe figure out if we want to go out in the rain for lunch or if we want to make somebody bring lunch to us. What about that? I like that idea.
I like the idea of you getting lunch for everybody.
Oh, no. I knew it.
I'm sorry, we actually are friends.
We're very good friends. Very good friends. And neighbors.
And neighbors.
And that's pretty much it.
And that's it.
So anyway, Dan will be back next week, I promise.
And it'll make everything
it'll be
better.
so much better.
Yeah.
It'll be so much better when Dan's back. Dan, we miss you. Everybody, come back next week for our wonderful festive end-of-year retrospective with a tinge of holiday spirit and some special guests and some big time giveaways. I don't know how much Dan has said about that in the chat. I don't actually know all the details on that, but I know we're giving away.
I think you mentioned that the lovely orange PC.
The orange PC,
Which right here we could demonstrate.
We have. I don't know if this
I don't know
is
if it's this
I
one.
don't think it's actually this one, but yeah, God, it's heavy. There's a lot of amp in this box, so we're gonna give this away. It's an amp. It's also a PC. You can plug a USB into it. You can play Rocksmith natively on this thing. You don't need an extra computer or anything. It's an amp. It's a PC made from by our good friends at Orange, one of our friends, in addition to our friends at Marshall and Ernie Ball and Gibson and Epiphone. A lot of good friends out there, all trying to help us all make some good music. So that's it for this week. Enjoy the Ernie Ball giveaway. We're going to leave you with one more look at the Rage Against the Machine DLC trailer. See you next week.
work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses.